The man was a president. I'm sure that even in the afterlife, he has more important things to do. Around about 1986, there was a rash of reports of things being moved around in the building late at night, and they got the reputation of there being a ghost in Old Main. And if you look it up in the University Star, you can find this. You can actually find the old reports of this. And it went on for an entire year until a few intrepid university police officers figured out that there was, in fact, a homeless guy living in the attic of the building. And at night, he would come down and he would rifle through people's stuff and go back up and be very quiet during the day. But the story that's true, round about, well, I don't know really, round about the 1920s. Has anybody in here seen the movie DOA with Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid? Okay, that movie was actually shot on this campus, and part of it was shot in Old Main before it was renovated. So if you look at it, if you watch this movie, you can see Old Main before they added the ceiling on the second floor. It used to be open all the way from the first floor up to the roof. So in about 1920, there was a young woman that was walking through the halls, and she fell from the top floor and died. I've spoken to every cleaning crew that's ever been in that building, and they all tell a very similar, very strange story of a young woman wearing 1920s style clothing, running up and down the halls with books clutched to her chest, still trying to get to class. I actually know a few custodians that won't go into that building after dark. So we do have places like that all over, so. Yes?
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Funny you should ask that. I've been hunting ghosts for a long time. I have had things thrown at me. I've been pushed. I've been burned. And not by my wife. But I will say this. My wife and I, my wife is actually sitting right there. She is my partner in crime. So when I go on a ghost hunt, she goes with me. And we were doing an investigation on a bar in Pennsylvania. And we had a group, I was actually teaching at Waynesburg University at the time, and I had a summer course on ghost stories and literature. And I had a grand total of 6 students. So I thought, for the last part of the class, what the cool thing to do would be take them on a real ghost hunt and let them scare the hell out of each other, right? So we go to this bar that I thought the stories about it sounded like urban legends, so I didn't expect to find anything. So Tabby took 3 of them downstairs, and I took the other 3 upstairs. She was downstairs for about less than 5 minutes, and she came running up the stairs, and she says, "Something got me." I said, "What are you talking about?" She lifted up her hair, and on her neck were 6 long, bloody scratches. And with me standing here with a video camera on it, and 6 students here, 3 more appeared on this side. And we got it on film. And my wife, being the person that she is, normal people would run like hell at that point. My wife, being the person that she is, turned around and walked right back down the stairs and went, "Who the hell scratched me?" And I stood at the top of the stairs going, "That's my girl." Yeah. So to answer your question, I've had a lot of very strange paranormal experiences. In fact, my first book was inspired by a real house that's actually here in San Marcos. It's a house I used to live in. And a funny thing about that, we were getting all kinds of very strange experiences in the house. One of my favorite ones was, we had you guys know what a baby monitor is? Yeah, a little radio thing, stick it in the kids' room, right? So my wife and I would listen to my youngest daughter sleep because she snored, and it's cute, and we're nerdy that way. So one night we were laying in bed, and we were about to go to sleep, and over the baby monitor we heard, "Who's a pretty girl?" And I got up and I ran into the bedroom with a baseball bat in my hand, and there was nobody there. My youngest, however, was sitting up in her crib, pointing at an empty corner in the ceiling and giggling. And I said, "You're sleeping with Mommy and Daddy tonight, aren't you?" So, and we were actually living in this house until my parents could move to town and take over possession of the house. They wanted us to live there because, to insure it, and all I heard was free rent. So, When my mom and dad moved into the house, I tried to tell them. I said to my dad, it's kind of a funny story, Dad. I think there's something in your house. I think the house is haunted. And my dad said, that's bullshit. So, okay. I went to my mom, said, Mom, I think the house is haunted. That's nice, dear. Okay, fine. So they've been living in the house for less than 3 months when I got a wonderful phone call. It's one of the best phone calls I ever gotten in my life. It was my dad, and all he said was, okay, I saw it. Here's your mother, and handed the phone off. What apparently had happened was my dad had gone into the spare bedroom and was going to take a nap. Why in the spare bedroom? I don't know. He's my dad. He's weird. Don't ask. But he sat down on the bed, and when he looked up, he saw what he described as a shadow. But it wasn't on the wall. It was out in the middle of the room like a column of smoke. And he watched as it walked from this door, across the room, and out the other door. And suddenly, Dad wasn't tired. Dad decided to get up and mow the lawn. So they had all kinds of very strange experiences in that house, but that's the house that inspired my first book. So.
Where's that house? Where's that house?
You know, the couple that lived there would really hate it if I told you. They would be very grumpy. But it's in the historic district here in San Marcos. So, yeah. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Where's the creepiest place you ever investigated?
Creepiest place I've ever investigated? That's a really good question. Well, we were, my paranormal group was actually the last group to legally enter the old Pike House. And we did an investigation there. That was pretty darn creepy. I don't know, I judge creepy in a very different way because, like, if my life was a horror movie, I'd be the guy that dies first. Because I'm the guy that's like, ooh, a weird noise. That's totally me. I'm the guy that would read out loud from a strange book. I'm the guy that would go into the basement. I'm that idiot. So I'd die before the opening credits were over, man. I'd be the guy that dies before the credits even start, just to let you know what kind of movie's going on. So, yeah, creepy to me is not really I guess the Pike House would be the most creepy place I've ever done. So, although the most dangerous one I'd have to say would be the bar where Tabby got scratched. But, yeah. Anything else?
What was creepy about the Pike House?
Well, there's something about walking into a place that used to be inhabited and find it completely decayed. There's something about walking in and finding that in just a few short years, the whole place is rotted. That and there were phantom footsteps all over the place, and we got a few really interesting EVPs. EVP is electronic voice phenomena. It's where you walk into a room with a voice recorder and you ask questions to nobody and you feel really stupid while you're doing it. And then you go back home and you listen to it and you get answers to your questions occasionally. So in one instance in the Pike House, I asked the question, what is it that you want? Didn't hear anything. I got home and I heard a very distinct male voice say, pay us attention. My wife, and actually there's another member of the team is actually here. It's Heather sitting right there. They were in a room doing an EVP session, and Heather heard a noise. And she says, was that you? To Tabby. Tabby did not say anything. She didn't answer her. She just shook her head. When we got home and we played it back, we hear Heather's voice very distinctly say, was that you? Could be. Now, I want you to picture this person standing next to my head and screaming her head off when she heard that, and me going, but yeah, so. Any other questions?
I have a writing question. Oh, wait. Yeah. With your busy schedule, how do you find time to write?
I make time. I make time. Here's a list of the things that I do, okay? First and foremost, husband and father. I always take time for my kids, always take time for my wife. I cook dinner sometimes, you know. So I do that. I work here full-time as a technician. I am the nerd in the basement. I'm the assistant coach of the Texas State University karate team. I work with those guys every week. I write for a horror news website called Dread Central. And I do all of that, and then I sit down and I write. And I set a schedule. I write 1,000 words every day, come hell or high water. And I don't stop until I do, which means some nights I'm up until 4 o'clock. Some nights it comes real easy and I'm in bed by 11. I love those nights. But the ones till I'm up till 4, you know. I actually shot my mouth off to my agent and wound up having to write an entire 90,000 word novel in 2 months. And I did it, and she liked it. I wouldn't recommend trying it because I was on sleep deprivation. None of my friends saw me for those 2 months. They were calling going, is he alive? You know, so drank a whole lot of coffee. But yeah, so I make time. Yes?
Where do you draw most of your material now after writing so many books?
From everywhere. Everywhere and everybody. One of my biggest inspirations is sitting here right beside my wife. My wife and my oldest daughter, my biggest inspirations. My youngest daughter, who apparently inherited my sense of humor, she's another one. I mean, if you've ever come into contact with me, chances are very likely that you're going to wind up in one of my books. And, you know, if I really like you, I'll kill you really horribly.